class in the vents.
In the
vents.
In the what?
I want to have class in the vents. This is where I want to be taught.
Let me get a...
High school. The place that us students spend upwards of 7 hours a day to get more prepared for the lives we have planned out. Here, we take classes that either we choose to take for the areas we're interested in, or classes that our state requires us to take. While high schools are set to run like a well-oiled machine, there are still some kinks that could be set straight. To start us off, we have some interviews with Jax Lambert, Matthew Saunier, and the great Casey Nieper to get their opinions about their school.
How do you balance outside activities and social life with school?
I think it's overly difficult, for me at least, when you're involved in football and YMCA basketball and those outside activities like youth group and things like that. You realize how much school has an impact on you and allows you to do anything in your groups.
Do you feel school limits you in any way?
Yeah, most definitely. The government's got an impact on you, telling you what you can and can't eat, what's regulating you on what you learn and what's valuable and what's not. You've got systems like the ACT that think they're important and determine your education. And I think the public school system is corrupt and being a government handout when it should be a place for students to better themselves. I think when you come into a classroom and they teach you pre-calculus and algebra 2 and come into English, you learn how to write an essay, but you don't know how to balance a budget. You've got classes like personal finance, but you sit on a computer for 6 weeks and try to figure out how to do it. So I think we can set up something like a life class. I know that sounds ridiculous, but something along those lines.
Do you think that because of the way the school system is set up, you've kind of lost, an inspiration to create or motivate yourself to do better?
In a sense, yes. I know from one perspective you look at it, and the public school system's kind of set it up in a sense to where when you have a guideline, that's what you've got to follow. So I think if it was opened up to be more of a creative sort of place to where you can grow in your own education, it would fix the system a lot.
How do you balance outside activities plus social life with school?
I don't. I just kind of let things roll until bad things happen or it works out.
Alright. Do you feel school limits you in any ways?
Oh yeah, all the time, because I can't do anything fun whenever I want to do anything fun. But I always do it and always pay the price because I don't manage my time at all. Less Common Core, because less Common Core because we all do AP, we're all in AP, but they're still like throwing us into like base classes and making us take base classes and stuff out of our focus area that they're making us do anyway. So it's just kind of like, oh, you have to take these classes for the state. Make it more like student by student basis and what they want to learn and what they want to do after high school, and just kind of tailor it to their learning ability.
Do you feel school limits you in any way?
The school just, they want to control every move that you have. They don't want to let you do jack squat. You sign a waiver agreement, and that means you have no rights coming in the school. The school determines everything that you do. You have nothing that you can do on your own. The school's your authority, and I hate authority. So I will never respect the school for bossing me around and telling me what to do, because I tell myself what to do.
Within these student interviews, there was a common theme about the school system being too controlling and limiting. Jax spoke about the limitations faced in the cafeteria and classes. Matthew spoke about how AP kids are still placed in grade-level classes from time to time, and Casey spoke about how the school tells the students what they can and cannot do. It seems all the students want is for their school experience to better reflect themselves, as opposed to being a generalized approach. They seek an education that will help their future instead of teaching them general education. It's great if a student can get a 32 on the ACT, but it's not great if they don't know how to be a functioning member of society. It also seems like the school values the end goal more than the process and hard work it takes to reach the said goal. To speak a little more about that, we asked Coach Benefield.
Our purpose for being here on this earth isn't to do things or to accomplish things. It's essentially for us to be, and for us to be what we were created to be. And that's not done in doing things, that's done in how we do things. So goals are good to have, and our goals should flow from our purpose, why we're here. And so if we have that in mind, then we aren't defined by our goals and the achievement of our goals. Instead, we're defined by what our purpose is. And having that identity is important on what is this grade, or what is this degree, or what is this, or do I have a nice house and a nice car? Do I have a successful marriage, or whatever? Those are things that should flow out of our purpose, and will be colored and defined by our purpose. And success, if we're focusing on our purpose, success will come, all right, in those areas. But if we're focused just on those goals, when there are setbacks, when there are things that don't quite go our way, then we're going to find ourselves in personal crisis, because we've defined ourselves by the things that we do, and oh no, the things that we are striving for, we've had a setback there, and if we are instead focused on purpose and living our life in our purpose, then whatever setbacks come, those setbacks are just there to teach us, and they're not really failures at all, as long as we take them for what they are, learning experiences, and move on. So we're supposed to be human beings, not human doings.
What do you feel like the end goal of school has become?
What has it become? We focus way too much, it has a lot to do with this purpose over goals piece. We focus way too much on school being a tool toward making money or having a good career, rather than education being a key that we can unlock our very selves. The education's primary purpose is for us to learn how to be human, all right? For us to learn how to recognize justice and recognize love and things like that, and to be virtuous, really. I mean, Thomas Jefferson said we're too oriented in educating young people for them to become parts of the machine, parts of the process. Now, we all need to learn how to do something, right? We all need to learn skills and even maybe a trade, but that needs to be the secondary focus, and the primary focus needs to be on taking students and teaching them how to be human.
How have you seen the effects of public school education play out in students or your own life outside of high school or after high school?
Well, I mean, I've been doing this for a long time. I think what's convinced me of my previous answers is seeing people some of my past students who have achieved a lot, gotten that corner office, in the high-rise building, and sat there and said, "What does any of this mean?" But if we're not educating how to be human, if we're not educating, hey, what the priorities are, look at these priorities, then it's just going to be like one of my former students who told me not long ago that he got this big job that he'd worked for a decade, and he sat behind the desk and looked out into his office and kind of had this crisis of, I don't know what to do now. If we're not teaching students and young people, hey, there's more than this grade, there's more than getting this degree, there has to be a reason why to do all of that. And it can't be so you can have a nice house and a nice car and be respected and all of this. There has to be something else. What is your purpose?
Coach Benefield said the system needs to teach people how to be human beings instead of human doings, and not teach them to be parts of the process. But Mr. Cantrell has a more hopeful and improved look towards the school system.
Do you feel the American school system adequately prepares students for college and the rest of their lives?
I would say we're doing a much better job than in the past, especially with writing papers. I think you look at that and you look at stress and anxiety. I think whenever I was in high school, which was 15, 16, 17 years ago, when I went to college, the biggest difference, I was not ready to write college level papers. So I think we're more prepared with that. I think the dual credit classes, I think the AP classes are helping students go in and being able to handle that workload. Before, when I first came here 11 years ago, there weren't many AP classes. There were no dual credit classes. There were just honors classes and grade level classes. So you go from taking 4 years of grade level classes and then you take college courses. And it's very, very different. So I think we are getting better. I think we're getting better with that. And that course load does help with things like anxiety and stress, because the less stress and anxiety, that can help you as far as preparation for courses or whatever it may be.
So you feel it like helps with stress and anxiety in college life, or?
I think if you're exposed to it in high school, depending on the school you go to, but I think if you're exposed to it in high school, then it will help you when you get to college, where you're just not overwhelmed. If you're taking 15, 18 hours and you're taking a biology class, and you're taking a chemistry class, and you're taking maybe a psych, whatever it is, and it's college level, and you're not used to any type of college level material, that can be pretty overwhelming. And that can cause stress, that can cause anxiety. Also, you're away from home in most cases that first year. So you've got a lot of stuff going on socially. Your friends in high school are probably somewhere else. You're trying to make new friends, you're trying to fit in a new community, you're away from home, you're taking classes that are much harder than you're used to. All of those things can play a role. I think that's typically why, if you look at things like anxiety, clinical depression, if you look at the onset, the age is typically late teens, early 20s. So what you see happening is your social structure is changing. You're losing some social comforts, your social net. And genetics play a role in anxiety. Genetics are going to play a role in any mental illness for the most part. Then what's going on in the environment, in addition to these classes you're taking, can be kind of overwhelming.
So you feel that maybe the workload that a lot of students experience in high school with dual credit AP classes can, even though it can be overwhelming, can be beneficial in their college life?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I've had students before who are taking 4 AP classes in a semester. And I think the stress level, the anxiety level with that is it's a little much. And I see them every day coming in and they're just stressed to the max. They've got 2 or 3 tests. They're taking AP English, they're taking AP Psychology, they're taking AP Chemistry, and it's just very overwhelming. To be honest, that course load as a junior or senior in high school is harder than what you're going to see the first couple of years of college. If you're taking 4 AP classes, that load is going to be probably more difficult than what you would see at a university your first couple of years.
So do you think there are any ways that we can help students deal with this kind of level of stress and anxiety in schools?
I think first of all to understand that it's normal. I think a lot of the times we think that anxiety is always bad. And we've evolved, anxiety has evolved with us. Anxiety can protect us, anxiety can help us be more prepared. As far as ways to help with that anxiety, that's one of the things I tell my classes, is to just plan ahead, don't fall behind.
So, Mr. Cantrell said that we're doing a much better job of preparing our students for college, and that stress can be a good motivator. Many students complain about the stress and workload, but he says it prepares you for the rest of your schooling. That's the thing. There will never be one method of teaching that everyone can agree on. Will there ever be a perfect school? No, but I think our current system has many opportunities for improvement. I think with enough passion, the students could gain a school system where each individual student's education is made best for them. The school could teach you how to do basic living needs for your future and prepare you for a job. That way, we can teach these students how to be citizens of a higher caliber. By teaching this generation life skills, the children of the world can be the better citizens of tomorrow and change the world for the better.